What is up, everybody? Sam Carlson here. It is not your mindset that is keeping you from succeeding with your entrepreneurial journey, your online digital marketing company. It is mind function. Let's jump into this. So I hear a lot of times when people are struggling, when they think their mind isn't right and they have really no idea what the problem is. So let's jump into this because we need to uncover your undiagnosed thinking process, the function, the way your brain works, so you can start winning tomorrow. And just to kind of kick things off, one thing that really, really bothers me in this space is when people talk about mindset with nothing but pep talks, motivational speeches, all that kind of stuff, only to have all of that good motivation, all that stuff that maybe amped you up for a little bit, go away 10 minutes after they're done. In fact, this is my honest belief. I think that more often than not, the people who do that are giving you the clear sign that they are a poser and that they are fake. Why do I say that? I say that primarily because when people can lead with a motivational story and that's all they have no understanding of why and how and all of these really important questions as to why can't certain people just get out of the gate and start winning when they can't understand why that is and explain to you how that happens. I don't think that they've ever gone through it and done it themselves. I just think that they're really good at communicating motivational wise, right? So today I'm going to show you, okay? I'm going to show you two thought processes, two ways that your brain functions so you can explode your business. That's what I'm going to show you. I promise I'll do it. I want to walk you through a way where you can get clearly armed with an understanding of how your brain works so you can walk away with some next steps right away. All right. To kind of display and illustrate to you how this whole thing works, how the brain functions, I'm going to tell you a story I'm calling Two Brothers, me and my older brother, Rob. Now, to give you just a little bit of backdrop, what we're like, what we're all about, I'm going to tell you this interesting story about, well, I don't know if it's interesting, but it's kind of funny, about 1 year when my mom had my brother and I decorate the house with Christmas lights. She said, all right, boys, here's the lights. Have at it, get it done. I talked to my brother. He's like, hey, let's just divide half. You do half, I'll do half. Now, my brother went through and he's a very smart, great guy. He went through and he made his lights perfect. All of the lights followed the gutters and the eaves of the house, and everything was straight and right and true. And he took his time. And then there was me. Okay, now I didn't do ditto, but instead of doing the straight lines across the eaves, I did swoops and twirls and all that kind of stuff. It took me far less time. I thought it looked great. When my mom got home, she pulled to the driveway with my dad and she goes, there's our two boys. We couldn't be more different. Okay, now I want to tell you a little bit more about this dynamic. It's a funny story, but it illustrates a really important point. Let's jump into my brother Rob first. My brother Rob was really good at school. Okay. He got good grades. He worked hard. He fell and followed the rules. He had a plan, I should say, after high school through college, all that kind of stuff, continuing education that he followed and really stuck to it, which I respect him, quite a bit for. And he has a really good job as a mechanical engineer. Obviously he's going to be an engineer if he's that, if he pays that much attention to detail. All right. And he earns a good yearly salary and he's got benefits and retirement, all that kind of stuff. Then there was me. I was not great at school. Okay. You couldn't keep my mind focused on the subjects that were at school. I was not interested. I did not really follow the rules. I wasn't like a rebel or anything like that, but I would tend to bend or think outside the box, I guess you could say. And then in terms of a plan, I knew from a young age that the typical process and flow of my career was not going to be the same as everybody else. And I quickly started businesses. My first business was when I was 15, had another business when I was 21, and then I haven't really stopped since. So I've always been an entrepreneur. And today I have 3 successful businesses, each of which produce positive cash flow and require very little of my time. And so that's been something that's taken me a lot of effort to get to. All right. And instead of getting paid a salary or having retirement, I get paid by the results that my businesses produce. Other than the obvious, what makes us so different? It really comes down to what I've been talking about. It's about how we process information. Okay. There are 2 forms, 2 functions of thinking, the me type and my brother type. My brother is a convergent thinker. Okay. I am a divergent thinker. This is where we get into the really interesting part of this information and this tutorial, I guess we would call this. This is where you're really going to start seeing how you behave and what things you can do to start planning and adapting to make those changes to start getting the results in your business you need. Okay. So let's talk about convergent and divergent. Now, the actual definition of the convergent thinking process is somebody who focuses on finding one well-defined solution to a problem, as opposed to the opposite is open to a variety of creative solutions when solving a problem. Okay. Now, this is best illustrated in this image. If you look at the convergent way, if you look at the piece in the middle, that would be you. All right. Convergent means that all of the inflow, all of the information must come to that point in the middle, to that person in the middle, as predefined inputs. Okay. And it is only with that incoming information that they can actually create a solution. So 1 + 1 = 2. There's no other way to do it. Now, the divergent thinking is where the subject, the person in the middle, looks outward to create, use their creativity to create alternate solutions, creative solutions to solving a problem. Okay. Now, you can look at it like this. This is actually a really interesting way to look at it. But the real reason is, why do we care? Why should we care about the different types of, the different ways our brains work? Well, for most, or really the entirety of your life, most people spend their time learning to think convergently. Okay. On the left side, you see 1, 2, 3, you see blocks stacked up in a very specific, regulated, rule-based way. And for us, if we go to school, everybody goes to school and we learn how to do these things within that box. Divergent thinking is not inside that box. And the reality is business. When you own a business, it is 100% divergent, meaning the information that's in your brain to solve these problems, to create your solutions, to do everything that you do, it is a divergent thinking formula all the time, happening all the time. Okay. Now, I want to go back. If you've seen any of my previous trainings, I share this story over and over, but I think this illustrates and is a good example about how people go around about solving their problems, both convergently, and in this case, how I use divergent thinking to solve this particular problem. So I say a familiar example because I've told the story a few times on this channel. So when I was a struggling loan officer, I had the people around me tell me, hey, I'm going to go ahead and if you sign up, I'll send you a whole bunch of business. So I joined and became a loan originator thinking, I've got business already coming in. This is going to be easy. Well, it didn't really turn out that way. When I started asking for that business, when I started reaching out to my friends, they're like, well, we don't really have any business for you. So I had to start asking around. And I remember asking, I think her name was Connie, who was my branch manager. And I said, hey, I'm trained up. I know what to do in terms of originating mortgages, but I don't have any business. And she would tell me, well, then you're going to have to go to real estate offices. You're going to have to take them to lunches, and you're just going to have to show up day after day after day. That was the formula that she had seen in her own career That was the formula that she had used and that others had used. And that's the only one that people would regurgitate over and over and over again. Well, you can see by each of those steps, go to the real estate agents' offices, take them to lunches, show up. Each of those take time, take resources. I didn't have any money to take anybody to lunches. I mean, I was a brand new loan originator, and to show up, sure, I could show up, but for what? And so what I did is I created a whole different approach, a divergent approach to this. And so one day I was looking through these real estate magazines, and I saw, instead of all of these agents who I knew would never send me their business, they had, really expensive listings, high-end homes, and I was just a young kid at the time. So I'm like, they're never going to send me, their customers. But I saw a gal who was bilingual. Okay. Her name was Christina. She worked with Spanish speaking people. They were buying homes in the first time home buyer range. And those particular homes were, with government programs, and most of the loan originators did not like to do that. They were more work. And so I'm thinking, wait, I speak Spanish, first time home buyers, I know how to do those programs. And I'm guessing that there's not that much competition. So I saw this niche opportunity, and I called Christina up and I said, hey, what if I were to, I actually said, hey, I'm guessing you have people who are not getting approved. You're probably having a hard time getting them, translating with a loan originator or something like that. What if I took anybody you had, I can get them approved. I speak Spanish. You don't have to speak Spanish. I'm happy to help. Boom. She sends me 5 deals, and all of a sudden I got all of these customers, and I never had to sell again because I took a divergent approach to solving that problem, where all of the advice I had gotten previously was just, oh, go do this, go do that. Okay, well, that's not working for me. This got me in business and got me in business within one day. So this is a good example of how you can use your creativity and that function of thinking to solve your problems. Okay. So real quick, let's jump back to you. All right. Now, when I say you, who is you? Primarily people who watch this channel are running an SMMA agency. They're running a SaaS agency. They're looking to get into online business through digital marketing, people in those areas. So if you're looking to get into those areas, you're going to need clients. And here's what I see most of the time in terms of the symptoms, and I see people really struggling to get started. So the first thing is you're looking for others to solve your problems. So that means you'll jump into a Facebook group, and it's okay to ask and engage in questions. But when I see you engaging with the same types of questions over and over and over again, you're just thinking too convergently, and you're not using those answers and those responses in a way to formulate your own thinking. Okay. You think there must be a perfect way. Okay. That's the thinking as well. I mean, in school, 1 + 1 did equal 2. Well, in entrepreneurship, 1 + 1 might equal 2.2. It's just different. Okay. And that's probably a bad example, but hopefully you get the point. Okay. You're waiting for things to be perfect. This is a big one. Okay. What is it? Paralysis by over analysis. Okay. And you're scared to take that first action. And it's mostly not because you're scared. It's mostly because you don't know what the first action is. Because you don't have that convergent, you don't have anybody telling you that's the first step. That's the first thing you do. Okay. Now, what can you do? How can you start thinking divergently? Let's go back to that same process. So see what others are doing. Engage in the UpHex Facebook group, or go to YouTube channels and consume information, and ask yourself, why are they doing it that way? How would this apply in my niche? How would this apply with my experience? Ask yourself why. Okay. Then understand that the perfect way will reveal itself with time and with effort. Okay. Adaptability is your greatest strength as an entrepreneur. Okay. Done beats perfect every time. Imperfect action taken consistently over time, creates more wins and more compounding effects than you can even imagine. All right. And then the only thing to be scared about, the only thing is doing nothing, is letting too much time lapse where you will ultimately fail, not because you did the wrong thing, but because you waited to do something. All right. The benefit about doing something is you quickly get to see, hey, well, that didn't work. Why didn't it work? And we go back into that problem solving loop. You guys, I know that you might think that after me going through this, it's like, well, this is easy for you to say. You can sit here behind your computer, behind your 8 years of success, and oh, great, you did it. Good for you. It's easy for me to say, but one, I want you to understand it's not just me. I want to give you some steps on what you can start doing right away so it can become easy for you. So number one is now you've armed yourself with the proper knowledge. The fact that you know that the process of thinking is what is holding you back, you can identify that. You've done that now, okay? And now it's time to adapt. Identify what is happening. Two, create a plan, okay? You can start creating a new plan and understand that in that new plan, there's no one way. There's your way, all right? Here's the cool thing. Instead of tactics, okay, and that's one of the things is that convergent way of thinking is always looking for the winning tactic. Instead of tactics, you can start focusing on principles and best practices. Why principles and best practices? If you have the principles in your head, those principles will start pushing outward and creating your own tactics. That is the power of divergent thinking. Number four, take action. With knowledge, a plan, your ability to quickly adapt with all this new information, everything you have, you can confidently start taking action. You can. Okay. We've got lots of resources for you to learn from. Okay. Now, if you have come through to this point, if you've watched this entire video, here's the really cool and great thing. First, pat yourself on the back. I hope this has been a piece of content where you're like, hey, this might be a moment, an epiphany moment for me. And kudos to you. What happens next? What is the other knowledge that you can get? I've got 4 videos here that I think will really help you. I'm going to go through, they're not in the right order, but I'm going to go through them one by one. So give me 30 minutes and I'll work a sales miracle in your SaaS agency. You got to start selling people. And selling is widely misunderstood. People think it's very scary. This video is the first one you want to watch because it will really break down and show you how easy selling can be. Number 2, watch them sell. This is actually a case study that a friend of mine, Nick Robbins, did, and he showed his entire prospecting protocol from doing cold video outreach, cold email, and cold DMs. So this is a great one. Once you've learned how to sell to people, go through and find out how to start doing prospecting. Then number 3 is everything you need to build a profitable SaaS agency. We're big proponents of the SaaS model here at UpHex for obvious reasons. You'll find out if you don't know. It will show you how to get clients, keep clients, and make more money. That's all about how creating an offer and building your model to build the business, how that all works. And then at the bottom right, I had Chase Buckner, who is one of the high ups at high level, come over, and we took the everything you know to build a profitable SaaS agency. We took those lessons and applied them directly to, I think it was 5 different SaaS offers. So we actually did the tactical part of building the business. These are 4 great resources. I think they can help you greatly. And you guys, by the way, if you like this content, please, please, please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.